Alright, let's get started on this really cool portrait. She's got glasses on, so that's going to be, it's actually, glasses can be intimidating to draw, but it oftentimes can really help with the structure of the head because of the frame of the glasses kind of shows you the tilt and angle of the head. So basic circle, or a little bit more like an oval shape. And I'm going to go through the brows for the angle. And there's a little bit of a distortion from the camera. Looks like the camera's pretty close to the subject in this reference, but I think it'll be okay. Sometimes the distortion is pretty challenging to draw, but it's such a cool photo. I just wanted to go ahead and draw it anyway. Let's see. So I'm looking for the overall shape of the head, and the jaw, and then I'll check my measurements and proportions after I give my best guess, basically. And it looks like she has a pretty sharp angle right here, or it's an earring that's kind of creating that. I think it's an earring. I tucked under the hair right there. Let's see. Let me check my angle of the brow. Okay, and now I'm going to draw the center line of the face, and that's going to give me the cross of the face with the brow line and the center line. And then it looks like her neck comes out down here, somewhere over here. So now I'm going to place in the thirds of the face. And firstly, I'm going to bring the brow, I think I'm going to drop the brow down just a little bit. And let me check the angle again. I need to flatten it out just a bit. And the nose, the bottom of the nose, about right there. I'm looking for 3 equal parts. So bottom of the chin to the nose. Let's bring the chin up a little bit. Let's try that again. Chin to the bottom of the nose. Bottom of the nose to the brow. Brow to the hairline. And of course we can't see the hairline because she has bangs covering her forehead. Now I'm going to measure the distance from the jawline here and this far side cheek and compare that to the length of the face. So far side cheek to the jawline. And it comes to about right here. So a little bit longer than the pencil. And I'm going to double check that again because I was kind of shaky on it. I just want to make sure I get it correct. Okay, that's pretty close. And let's get the angle of the glabella right here, and then the angle of the nose. And then it sweeps down to here. this outside nostril. And let's try to keep all the features lined up on the same perspective line, including the eyes. So the eyes would be somewhere right here. So we want everything to line up on these parallel perspective lines for the features. I was just kind of sketching in the rhythms for the neck, and we got the shoulders here. Okay, so I'm going to map in, well, yeah, let me map in a little bit more information on the nose. It kind of bothers me sometimes just to leave it so simple, but let's go ahead and do some information, like the underside plane of the nose. You can see the peak, the tip of the nose right here, and then the plane change for the bottom of the nose compared to the top. And the big cartilage of the front of the nose. And this oval represents the nasal bone itself. And then we can come up here on this other side for the glabella shape. So we have this nice keystone shape, the bony structure of the nasal bone, then that rhythm of the cartilage, and then the wing of the nostril. If we come down for the philtrum, that'll bring us to the split in her upper lip. And it looks like she's got a little bit of a smile. So let's kind of curve that just a touch. And actually, I'm going to bring that mouth up a little bit, kind of thin out her lips. And then this comes down. And then this side curves because of that perspective of wrapping around the cylinder, the teeth cylinder. So this side can be straight, but this side will curve. And I made her upper lip a little bit thicker, but that's okay. I like it. It's a good shape still. And then the bottom lip, we'll make that even thicker. And let me check the bottom third. So I had her equal. I just made it straight up, just made everything equal. And let me make sure I had it correct. Okay, that is correct. So we have the bottom plane. Underneath the bottom lip, there's a little, like a wedge shape right here. And then we have the rhythm of the chin. And I'm going to shorten up the jaw a little bit. Let's come over here. And if you look at the angle of the jaw over here, it lines up roughly with the corner of the mouth. So that's pretty much right here. Let's go into the eyebrows a little bit and start mapping in the glasses, the shape of the glasses. Before I do that, I'm looking at the distance from this edge to the bridge of the nose, and I think I need to bring it in a little bit. It's a little too far out. And let's see, the top point, the peak of the glasses are right here, and then over here as well. And the bottom peak would be about right here, and then it's resting, looks like it's resting on her cheeks, and then the frame, I guess you call it the bridge of the glasses, right about there. And the very corner looks like it's maybe about right there. So I'm just trying to find the border of the glasses, and then I'll have my lines to guide me as I sketch the delicate shape of the glasses. So if I come through here, we meet up with this one. This is sort of like the little wedge shape on the side of her glasses. And before I go do that, I want to map in her eye too. So it looks like if I come up at an angle like this, then I'll find the inside corner of the eye right about there. And actually, let me go ahead and gently sketch in the inside border of those glasses. And they do come and touch the nostril on the very far, or right on the edge right here. Okay, that's good enough, because I'm trying to locate the eye in relationship to the glasses and get it locked in on the correct, like anatomy wise, like in the correct spot. So it's a little tricky, because this right here is the upper eyelid, but it's between the upper eyelid. It sits just under the inside of the sunglasses, or of the reading glasses. Let's see, let's come over here, and I think the corner of her eye is actually tucked in behind the glasses. Okay, so I'm thinking about, when I'm drawing the eye, I'm thinking about it wrapping around the ball of the eye itself, like the sphere of the eye. And I'm trying to visualize that thing wrapping around, those eyelids wrapping around a ball Let's see. All right. So let's go ahead and sketch this shape right here. Oops. Let's bring those lines together the right way. There we go. And now you can find this angle of the arm of the glasses, and then it brings you to the basically the top of the ear. And to find the bottom of the ear, can't really see it because of the hair anyway, so in that case it doesn't matter. And then we see some hair coming up here and here. And then it's really going to just tuck in behind the brow. Let's see. Don't really like that shape. Kind of, it's not straight, but it's a little bit more flat, and then it curves as it comes down here. And then the other side, let's do that one. Let's see, that comes to here. There's the top margin. That curves pretty heavy right here. Right down to the, was that the joint of the hinge of the glasses? I don't think I've drawn glasses in a very long time. So it's a good exercise. It's funny, in art school it was always like, if they gave us an option, like if the model asked the class or the teacher asked the class, do you want the glasses on or off? Everybody's like, off. Like, take the glasses off. We don't want to deal with that. And you can see the far side, glasses come in. Should be at the same angle though. So let me see if I need to move the hinge over a little bit or not. I'm looking at that negative space as well. Let's see, let's try to get that same angle. There we go. Minor detail, but very important. And I'm going to map this other eye. So it comes straight across at that angle, not straight across, but that same angle that everything is lined up on, including the corner of the eye. And I'm going to start off with this far side. It's not so much of a corner because it's rounded because of the eyeball is on the far side of the eye. So the perspective is it's wrapping around that sphere. So I don't want to call it the corner of the eye, but Let's see, let's get that upper eyelid. You see just the touch of the top portion of the eyelid as it's wrapping around that sphere. And then the bottom eyelid kind of comes out, a little wedge shape, and then it comes down. It's hard to see, but it's there. There we go. And if I drew our iris, it'd be something like that. Actually, I think I need to open her eye up a little bit more. Okay. It's actually, I don't have the angle right. So I'm trying to do it straight up and down like that, and it should be a little bit more of an angle, like leaning over. Yeah, like that. Much better. And then this one, over here, this iris, is, see that highlight? That's going to be really fun, where it cuts right through the side of the iris and right up into the pupil. So that's going to be a really cool glassy eye kind of effect. Let's see. So I think I need to make the eyes a little bit bigger on this side. And it's really hard to get everything to line up with the glasses as well. Let's see, is this distance here too short? It might be. Let's reshape this eye. I'm going to bring the inside corner in a little bit. Let's see. So just for fun, I'm going to put some tone in it right now, and then I'll pull out that highlight. To get a sense of what we're looking at here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's do the bottom eyelid shelf. You can see that pretty well on her. And so this is the peak here. Just trying to make sure I get everything lined up, including the glasses on those perspective lines. Okay, very good. And let's see, let's do the cheek rhythm. And it pretty much comes right through the mouth and up here. All right, so let's look at the overall hair shape and everything. Let's actually, I'm gonna come in here and sketch in her V-shape kind of blouse. So that comes down to about right here. That's the pit of the neck. And she has a cast shadow, very subtle. Let's see, where is that? Right about here. She might have a little bit of a split in the cartilage of her nose. That looks kind of cool. Eyebrows pretty dark right here. And then it lightens up like a lot right here. I almost said tremendously, which I never say that word, so I have no idea where it just came from. Tremendously. I think Joey Diaz says that a lot. I was listening to his podcast, that's probably why. Tremendously. Oh yeah, we got a nice little rhythm right here. Comes up and around into the other side. And actually right to the cheek. It's kind of got a little smile going on. Let me map in her hair before I get into like the values and stuff like that. So, and also you can see how it aged her when I put that line in. Even though I see it, I'm going to take it out and try to keep her from looking older than she is. So let's measure from the pupil to the bottom of the chin, and then take that to the top. That's usually the top of the head. So at least we know that's the top of the head. And let's see where her hair is in relationship to there. So yeah, that's about right. So from her chin to her pupil, take that distance, and then go from the pupil, and the top of the hair is right about here. So, and she has pretty wild, tousled looking, shaggy hair, the shag style. I don't know if you would call this a mullet. I guess that's kind of a pseudo mullet, maybe. It looks really cool. I love the hair, how it kind of comes out and layers and stuff like that. Makes for a really fun drawing. You can see that a little bit comes out here. I'm going to exaggerate this piece, really give it like a lot more volume and distance. And then the hair over here kind of lines up, let's see, at an angle to her chin, be like this. So actually I gotta drop that down. Oh, okay, one shoulder's dropped. Okay, I didn't notice that before. She's kind of like tilted a little bit. I had her neck too short. Alright, that looks better. And the hair is right about here. I'm just going to drop it down to here. Keeping it really soft so we can change our minds easier. Big S curve. Here we have a C curve, an S curve. And she has a lock of hair that comes over the glasses and cuts back. I mean, you can really have a lot of fun with designing hair shapes. And you can't see the glasses anymore on this side, so we just take that out. And this edge right here on the glasses it's going to be the sharpest and hardest edge, so it'll pop out more than the other side. I'll keep the edges over here softer than this one over here, because I want this to look like it's coming at you. And to do that, you would make that line darker or crisper and sharper. Alright, so back to the hair. S curve. Then she has a lock of hair right here. Okay, let's go over, it's so rough and messed up right here. This is gonna be a challenge. I'm gonna just have to like design it just to make it look like it's like in a rhythm of some sort. come back to that back side of the hair. I love how it's like tapered right here. I can come in with that little, the side edge of my pencil and just kind of make it look like it's been chopped up. Very cool. Let's see, this one comes up and over. Just so wild back here. Looking good. I like that hair design so much. It's so much fun. Let's see, let's come over to the nose a little bit and give it some attention. Put some value in the upper lip and the bottom. Let me check the corner of the mouth in relationship to the eye with a plumb line. And I think I need to bring this corner a little bit further out. Her mouth looks a little too short. Looks like it comes through right about here. Oh, that's pretty much it, huh? Let's check that again. Yeah, I think in relationship to the eye, it's pretty much in place. I'm gonna push it just a touch. Let's see. Let me thin out that upper lip. That's probably what's thrown me off. Or I just got it in the wrong spot. And then for that bottom lip, I'm going to pull out just a little highlight right here. Very subtle. I'm going to try to break that edge on the upper lip because it's not really a hard edge. It's just soft. It just looks harder than it really is because of the lipstick. The value change is so strong, so it makes it seem like there's a hard edge there. There's more of a hard edge down here though. And we can connect this to that rhythm underneath the mouth, like so. Let's clean this up a little bit. I can put some value on the neck for sure because the light is not hitting it as strong as the face. So I'm just scumbling this in, just really quick and fast. I know it drives some people nuts that I use my finger to blend, but these are just practices and they're on. This is a newsprint, so I mean I'm not going to keep this for forever, you know. It's not going to hang on the wall, at least not for a long period of time. If I was doing graphite on archival paper, you know, I would never use my finger. Well, I won't say never, but I most likely won't be using my finger. I'll be using my blending stubs. But for these quick studies like this, yeah, I'm going to use my finger. So I mean, seriously, it's just a practice. Like, so some of the comments are kind of funny. Like, they're very concerned that I'm using my finger because the oils get in the paper and destroy the paper. And it's like, this is newsprint. You know, newsprint is not going to last. It starts to yellow. It seems like, depending on the room that it's in, if it gets a lot of sunlight or not. If it gets like a moderate amount of sunlight and no direct sunlight, it'll last. It'll stay its color for a couple of months and then it'll start to turn yellow. Now, if it's in direct sunlight, it'll change much, much faster and become really yellow, almost brown, like a gold, and then it'll become brittle and fall apart. It's just a really good paper because it's cheap compared to like the expensive papers, and you can do a lot of studies and not go broke. So it's a really, really versatile training tool. Let's see, let me try to pull that highlight out. There it is. I'm going to lighten up the eye a little bit. Okay. So the main highlight, or the light is hitting strongest like right here. So I'm going to make this hair really dark on that edge to really pop that contrast. come in here and hit those edges pretty sharp. There we go. And then over here, let's take out those initial lines I put in earlier. And scumbling in more value in this region to show the form turning. Doesn't take much. Then of course right here it's really white. Let's go put value in our sunglasses or her glasses. I'm just going to connect those shadows together on this far side. Let the details kind of get lost in those values, those dark values, and just connect those shapes together. And does she have a highlight in that eye? Looks like it, just a little bit. Where's my pen? My pen eraser. Let's see. Okay. Make this a little bit of a hard edge so it just pops. Try to make it look three-dimensional. This is really going to be crisp over here. I'm going to put some value in this nose so it can support a highlight. So now I'm going to use my pen. Let's see, where highlights on this side. And right through the top of the bridge. got some shadowing on that socket, in the eye socket. Let's see, I'm going to bring this mouth out further. I think it's too short on this side. I think that's what was throwing me off earlier. I felt like the lips were just too short. It looks like the corner can come out to about right here. There we go. Nice. And I gotta reposition that filtrum. There we go. And this side of the face has more shadow, more tone. I keep grabbing the wrong tool. I was trying to like erase with the back of my Conte 𝙃𝙚𝙖𝙙. They don't have erasers yet. And there's a highlight on the bridge of the nose, and it's right up against the dark frame of the glasses. So I can kind of use that as an opportunity to get a really hard edge and show some perspective, or show some depth. Nice. Looking pretty cool. The hair looks really cool. Put some random strands. Put a little bit more of a shadow underneath this jawline to make it pop out a little bit. But I'm also trying to keep it kind of soft and delicate. So highlight on the glasses right about here. I don't know if that works or not. Yeah, I'm not really crazy about it. I'm trying to thin out the frame a little bit too. Looks like it gets thinner as it goes down. Maybe if I just blur this a little bit. Make it feel a little bit more like it's part of the face. I think I put too many. You can overdo the eyelashes, that's for sure. You sort of just want to hint at it a little bit. Okay. doesn't have eye makeup on the bottom eyelash, it looks like. I'll just add some. Okay, I think we're pretty much done with this one. It's a nice fun study. Really enjoyed playing with the hair shapes. And let's go in here and try to get some of that, the kind of like the occlusion shadows, those shadows that reflective light can't get to. I kind of like walk around the drawing and look for areas I can pop in some dark value like that. Maybe over here in this corner, and to match up with that corner. Under the lip will be a good spot, just a little sliver. Let's see. Under the nose. Definitely the pupil. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a cast shadow from the glasses, right about here. That's pretty much it, I think. Sometimes you get a really good photo reference, and then the shadow from the sunglasses is like gigantic, and it just doesn't look good. Kind of ruins the whole photo. Let's see. I think I'm pretty much done. Soften up that underside of that bottom eyelid a little bit. Let's see. Glassy eyes. All right, I'm gonna call it done and done. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Hey guys, a quick little commercial for my Patreon page. I have only one tier currently, and it's $8 a month. Weekly tutorials, live streams, private community where we, it's a forum, call it the Wake and Draw Forum. And on that forum, we do show and tell, critiques, 30-day head challenges, and things like that. Also, I post a lot of reference photos to use in the videos, the live stream videos. These are really high quality reference photos. And a lot of them are portraits and some are figures. In addition to doing live stream on YouTube, I do live streams for patrons only, and this one here is of Johnny Depp, and this one's a nice study I did on focusing on shading. So for $8 a month you'll get weekly tutorials, live streams, and access to the Wake and Draw forum, and also you can ask me anything you like. So hope you join, and hope to see you there. Thank you guys. Bye. So starting off with a circle, we can even start off with like a square for the head. It looks like he's pretty blocky actually. Let's do that instead actually. Why not, you know? Just change it up a little bit. Instead of the circle, I'm going to look for his overall head shape. His magnificent mullet. And see, it looks like his hairline would be up here, and then the brow somewhere over here. Very general with the head shape here. And his jawline is a really strong jaw shape. And now I'm going to do I'm going to take a line right through the eyes just to see what the head tilt is, and it's pretty much straight across. And his brow, so now I'm going to just do the same thing for his brow, checking under the nose, so the lips. So all the features are very straight across. So I'm just going to make a line that represents where the brow line is. And even though he has like an arching eyebrow, this line is representing the start, where the eyebrows start. So they'll come up and over, kind of like this. But for now, I'm just going to do a line right where the eyebrows begin. And then I'll find the center line of the face. So now we have what's called the cross of the face. And we find that in the Loomis books, he talks about it. And it's a really good process to find the cross of the face. And you can see the head tilt from there. Let's see. I might bring that hairline up just a little bit. So now I'm going to measure out the thirds of the face. And the thirds of the face start off with the hairline, go down to the start of the brow, and then bottom of the nose, and finally the bottom of the chin. So you get 3 parts. And depending on the person, it varies a lot how long each one of these is. In the Loomis book and other drawing books, they teach you to do 3 equal parts. But that's not always the case in real life, looking at models and references. And there might be a perspective change or something like that. So I'm going to use my pencil and thumb, and I'm holding up in front of me to the image on the TV across the room, and I'm going to find a point underneath the nose and to the start of the brow. And so the point of my pencil will be at the brow, and then my thumb will find the bottom of the nose. And then I'll take that measurement and compare it to the brow to the hairline and see if they're equal or what, you know, to see if they're a little bit longer or whatever. So it's a comparative measuring technique. So in this case, it's pretty close to being equal. And the nose might be a little bit shorter than the hairline to the brow, in which case we already have it like that. So I'm going to leave my mark for bottom of the nose pretty much where it is. And now I'm going to check the bottom third and compare that to the middle third. And just by looking at the image, you can see that the bottom third is probably longer than the middle. And I'm just going to see by how much, using the same pencil and thumb technique. And it comes up to about right here. From bottom of the nose to this point is the length of the bottom 1/3. So I need to bring the jawline or the chin down quite a bit. I'm also going to compare it again. I'm going to take the measurement again like this, and I'm going to compare it to the hairline. Just to make sure. So chin to the bottom of the nose, comparing it to the brow, to the hairline, and it falls somewhere about right there. So I'm going to take that measurement and come down. So it's pretty close. So now we can take this and readjust our drawing a little bit. And now I'm going to take a measurement of the width of the face. I'm going to compare it to the length. And I'm guessing that it's going to, the width will probably be about the same as from the brow to the bottom of the chin. It can vary different lengths, but I want to get that ratio pretty close. So with my pencil again, I'm going to go from basically the peak of his nose is, the tip of his nose is right at the edge of the cheek. So let's go ahead and just place in the very generic blocky shape of the nose, getting that brow or the bridge of the nose angle correct. And now we know that the cheek comes right through the tip of the nose and then down. And we'll get to this portion after we get the width, but I just wanted to get the peak of the nose, the tip of the nose, so I can take that measurement and then compare it to the length of the face. So pencil and thumb to the nose, and then to the outside right at the beginning of the ear and that jawline right there. Now I'm turning it over and checking to the bottom of the chin, and it comes to about right here. So it's a little bit beyond the brow, just barely. So we're right on the money, really. And so no need to adjust that. I'm going to check the angle. The angle can come in a little bit steeper. And then the bottom part of the jaw. And that's pretty much it for the overall blocky shape of the jawline. So now let's place in the bottom of the ear using a horizontal line with my pencil. If we go straight across, it comes to about right here. And then the top of the ear comes through the eye somewhere. So this is not a very good estimation yet, but it gets us in the ballpark. And as I draw in more of the features, and I'll measure again to make sure that the ear is not too low or too high. Just by looking at it, I think it might be a little too low or too small. I think it's probably too small. But we'll just place that in for now. And let's come up here and do the arch of the eyebrow. Well, actually, let's do the glabella shape. That's that wedge shape between the eyes. So take that out. And his eyebrow starts here on that side, and this side it comes up and over. Let's see. And the center line about right here. So let's do a sweep for the arch kind of rhythm of the brow. And then on this side comes over, and it gives us the brow ridge. And that's where we get that side plane change of the cranium, the temporal zone. And then don't really see, we can take this rhythm all the way through if you like. Let's see, let's come up here to the brow. And I'm just going to sketch in a basic shape of the whole brow ridge and then the top portion of the eye. And I think I'll go ahead and just do the eyeball itself. So sweeping from side to side for that top rhythm of the excuse me, the rhythm of that top eyelid. And then from there, I'm just going to come in and sketch in the sphere for the eyeball. And same on this side, which you can't see much because it's tucked under the nose and also underneath that brow ridge. And let's go ahead and work on the nose. Get that placed in nice. So the center line comes down here, and then through here. Just checking with my pencil. It's more of an angle, and then it curves because the cylinder of the mouth, the teeth, they call it the teeth cylinder. And this is about where the philtrum on this side would come out, and then the other side of that philtrum, and then that cupid's bow of the lips. Now let's do the underside of the nostril, and then the side. You can draw like a little oval shape for the structure of that cartilage and also the main cartilage of the nose to help give some underlying structure. And now I'm going to try to find the inside corner of the eye. So some techniques, some people use the angle of the bridge of the nose, and they'll come straight over and then use the parallel line, something like that. And sometimes it works. In this case, I don't think it will. I think it'll push the eye too far that way. Let me check with I'm going to use a plumb line, a vertical line, looking at my image in front of me, right at the inside corner of the eye, and then I can see about how far away I am from the nostril. And actually, this might actually work for him. I might be wrong. Let's see. It's pretty close. I think it's a little bit further in. The line goes through here, so if I take that parallel line and I come down, it cuts through the nostril just a little bit, the wing of the nostril. So it's not exactly on the outside, but it's a little bit on the inside. So now we know the inside corner of the eye is right there. And it's probably a little bit higher. You just sort of have to look at the distance from here to that rhythm underneath the eye and seeing this distance. So that looks better to me. And let's go ahead and sketch that upper eyelid. It's a very shallow sliver. It's like a little, you don't see much of his upper eyelid. It's tucked underneath the heavy brow. The heavy brow ridge, and he has a really thick eyebrow as well. I'm going to show a little bit more actually. Because you're the artist, you can do anything you want. If you want a thicker eyelid, you can make it. So, you know, some people get really hung up on trying to get things exactly what they see. And I understand that's really good. I mean, that's what we're mostly trying to do. But sometimes if you see something and you want to redesign it and to try to make it look better or cooler, I mean, go for it. I wouldn't try to stick to reality all the time. Try to design things to make it, basically you're just trying to make a good drawing, make it look like a good drawing versus like a photograph. And that's why I like the freehand style that I learned over at 𝙍𝙗𝙗𝙗. Because mostly it's trying to copy you know, what we see, but it's also artistic expression all wrapped in together. So it's like a, I don't know, I really enjoy those two together. I think there's a balance somewhere, and everybody's a little different, and that's where style and personality comes through. So that basic shape of the eye. So you see how using that, drawing that sphere of the eyeball, at least for me, it really helps, because then I can mentally think about the three-dimensional thing that I'm drawing. That I'm drawing an eyelid that's wrapping around a ball. So now let's go to a little bit of the rhythm right here. You see the mid cheek furrow. It comes out from that. That groove right there is the some people call it the tear duct groove, or their teardrop groove, because if you cry, that's where the drops will kind of gather and drip down your cheek, and it goes into the mid cheek furrow. Which he's a young guy, so by the time you get to here, it kind of disappears, and you might see a little bit down here, but again, he's pretty young, so you won't see much of those lines yet in his face. Come back in like 20 years and you'll see them. Let's see. So his eyebrow is about right there. So before I get into more of the features, I should actually finish the overall head. It's kind of like one of the things I have a hard time is like trying to remember to do things in a stepwise process, like overall head shape, and then you go in and work on the features. But sometimes I forget. Even after all these years, I still forget. Let's see. So his hair kind of comes over here, and then hair is like another opportunity to just have fun and design cool shapes and try to make a cool looking drawing. You don't have to stick to exactly what you see. If you're trying to get the person's likeness, yeah, you're trying to stick to what you see, but I mean, when it comes to hair, you get to have a lot more leeway, and you get to do what you really just have fun, you know, do what you want and just have fun. I'll probably just come in later with some tone. I don't know yet. We'll see. I might keep this just a simple drawing for the demo, like a simple line drawing. So this comes down. His hair comes out. It's like a really warm day, and I got the windows open so you can hear people outside at the garbage dumpster area taking out their trash. Let's see, let's go over here to the hairline. He's got this sideburn. Then we'll come up to here. And then he has the rhythm because of the side change of his head, the plane change from the front to the side. And then that hair comes up. And we can come over. We can do like a little texture for the hair on this side. He's got some long strands of hair down here. And now I'm going to check that top of the ear again. So a straight line across, a horizontal line straight across his face from the top of his ear, cuts right through this eye. So I think I got it pretty close. Then I'll check the bottom again. And it's about the top of the, yeah, so we're good. We're good on the ear. So I'm going to go ahead and map in the basic anatomy shapes of the ear here. Come down. So we have the helix. I'll make it a little bit thicker so you can see it. And then the tragus. And then this is the lobule, the earlobe. Then the antitragus right here. Let me come up, let me start into the antihelix portion. Then the fossa. And then the concha. Let's make his ear more attached than I had it. Alright. I'm gonna make his cash out a little heavier too. Much more wider, just for looks. Okay, so let's come up here and just work on the shape of the hair. So we have some hair right here that's overlapping. So I'm using the side of my pencil to create that texture, because it gives me like really fine lines when I use the side of the pencil and drag it across the paper, I'm not doing a lot of pressure on the pencil. It's quite gentle, but it leaves really thin and dark lines, very delicate lines. And his forehead is right about here in relationship to the eye. Then we have the flat portion of the eye. So this eye is not going to come to a sharp corner like this one. This one comes to a very definite sharp triangle edge, right? On this side, because it's wrapping around the far side of the face, it's going to be more flat. So those two eye shapes are going to be really quite different from each other because of that perspective. And then again with that cylinder of the teeth. And then the chin is going to line up with the eye right about here. So that's one area that I'll make a mistake quite often, is I want to the cylinder of the mouth and the chin I'll bring too far inwards underneath the nose instead of having it where it should be more out. And one way to fight that impulse, at least for me, is to use a plumb line or a vertical line and find where that, like, the outside edge of that chin lines up with the rest of the features above it, to make sure I don't make the mouth too far in. So it really changes the look of the person. And we have a cast shadow underneath the jaw here, which I'm going to exaggerate a little bit. This picture it's a cool picture, but it doesn't have really strong shadows. There are some, but I wish it had a little bit more heavy shadowing, but that's okay. You get used to these kind of photographs. Let's see. His brow is pretty thick, and it's really crisp right here, and then thins out. Let's do the same for the other side. It's even more pronounced, that crisp edge underneath the brow, and then it softens up at the top. And you can see all the little details of the hair and the brow. Let's come down and find the nodes of the mouth, the corner of the mouth, and I'm using a plumb line, and it goes straight up right before the inside corner of the eye. So if I bring this line down, the corner of that mouth will be somewhere on that line, and I'm going to take an angle as well. I don't know, I feel like it's, let me check that again. I think I had it off a little bit. I think it lines up pretty close. So it's somewhere on this line. If I take a straight, so now we have a pretty good idea of where that corner of the mouth is. And now let's draw the shape of the upper lip. And he's got the philtrum that comes out here, and then his upper lip curves over and inward, and the bottom lip is underneath the upper lip. So the bottom lip doesn't come out beyond the tip of the upper lip, so it's sort of tucked under kind of feeling. And this line right here would be really soft, maybe almost lost. I need to bring that corner out just a little bit more. And this line right here would be broken. Indicate that softness that I see right here. And the stair step up comes across. And that little wedge underneath the chin. And then we have the rhythm for the chin. Actually, his chin is quite large. A little bit wider. This guy kind of reminds me of like Patrick Swayze, the actor from back in the day, from like Ghost and what's that, Dirty Dancing. It's like he could be like a cousin or something, this guy, or a second cousin or something. Let's see, so let's come over here. I have too much of a curve in that filtrum, so let me adjust that. It's a little bit straighter. There we go. And this one curves a little bit. Getting that far side cheek contour down. And then for the rhythm of the cheekbones, from Riley we take it from, there's two different ways. You can take it either from the corner of the mouth to the outside of that wing of the nostril, and the kind of like right underneath the eye, and then over to the ear. That's a good one to like make sure everything's locked in. I've seen people drop that line down a little bit and come to the outside, and then right where that sphere of the eyeball is, and then to the cheek. The one I like to do is pretty much just straight up and over, like so. That's the one I prefer. But everybody's different. There's so many different rhythm lines. They all do the same thing and help make the face look. I heard it. What did I hear? I heard today they were talking about the Riley rhythms, and it's like the poetry of the face, the poetry of the body, the rhythms of the body, the rhythms of the face. And I don't know. I kind of like that. It's like the poetry of the face, because it's like how things flow, whether it's like the bone structure here, but there's also muscle and tendons, and they all attach, and the Riley rhythms really follow that, and it's just a beautiful method. So let's see, we got this rhythm here as well, comes down and wraps over. And if I placed in all the rhythms, he would start to look really much older than he is. Like if I put in this nasal labial fold and that mid-cheek furrow I was talking about, you can do it to help you kind of lock in the structure, but just know that it may make the person look older, because those are the rhythms that start to show up when we age and start to develop lines in our face. And basically we start developing a poetry in our face as we get older. So that's pretty funny. So age equals poetry on the face. But yeah, I'm becoming a poet myself. So I'm definitely getting a lot more wrinkles over the last couple of years. It's been interesting to watch. Especially like the laugh lines, like right here. I think that was the first one I noticed when I was like, I think it was like 28, 27 when I first saw this like crease. It was like the first crease in my face, and I was like, what is that? And then now it's just like, oh my God, I can't keep track of everything, every crease that develops now. Sometimes I wake up from a heavy sleep and I'll have like this terrible like crease like right here, because I was laying on my face and I was like squishing it. So yeah, lines in the face tell you a lot about the person's life, I suppose. Hence the poetry of the face. Let's see, let's go back to this jawline. So he's looking pretty good. Let me go ahead and do this other eye, and using that rhythm from side to side to help lock those eyes in together, to make them look like they're on that same turning 3/4 pose head. So the eyelid, upper, and then the bottom portion of the upper. And we can even go from side to side for the bottom of the eyelid. You don't have to make the line, but just like track over and then make a mark. And you can't even see his eye here. It's like just a sliver is showing. Just a sliver. And he's got some eyelashes. He's got some beautiful long eyelashes. And again, in that corner of the eye, it's a flat wedge shape, not the triangle peak right here, but a flat. And that was like, when I learned that, actually, I still remember where I wrote it down in my journal, in my my notes. It was such an epiphany. It was like, oh my God, what? And I even remember the teacher that said it, 𝙃𝙚𝙧𝙯, and I wrote that down. And it was very, very helpful. Let's see. It's like in art school, I used to try, like during the live demos, the teacher would do a demo every day before class, like a 20-minute or so. And I would try to remember at least 2 things and write them down and try to remember them and use them throughout the week. Beyond 2 is pretty difficult. If I was feeling real good, maybe I'd do a 3rd one, but I just try to keep it pretty simple and just try to find 1, maybe 2 pearls of wisdom to write down and memorize and practice throughout the week. So I think that helped a lot. It seemed like it did. So if you remember this one, for like a 3/4 pose where the heads are turning and that far side eye is not going to be a sharp point like this eye. It's going to be a flat. So if you remember that, that's the only thing to remember from this video, dude, you're ahead of the game. Let's see, so let's go over, let's give some texture to the hair. It's basically the style hair is like very texturized. I can see like different levels of the cut. And then down here we get into like long, flowing, beautiful mullet hair. I make fun of mullets, but man, I don't know. I'm starting to think about it. Like, maybe I should try sporting one again. I never had a really long one like this. I had like your standard, like, I don't know, church going kid kind of mullet, I guess. It's like a pseudo mullet, but nothing as hardcore as this. This would be amazing. And he's got like the same type of hair that I have, I think, so that's probably why I'm like, I think it's about time I have a mullet. I don't want to leave this earth unless I at least grew 1 mullet in my life. But I don't think my girlfriend's gonna go for that. I was also thinking about just getting a buzz cut, because every once in a while, because my hair's long on top, it's kind of like a Great Gatsby kind of haircut. It's like long on top and short on the sides and the back, but the hair on top, sometimes it gets caught like under a foot or something in jiu-jitsu. And actually, it was like a couple of weeks ago, I ripped out a big chunk, and it makes that horrible sound of the hair ripping. It surprisingly didn't hurt. So you see this rhythm here. It's like a plane change of the face. And got the cheek. I'm gonna highlight somewhere over here. Let me just take that out. So we're not going to do tone. This is just a lay-in study and going over those rhythms of the face and stuff like that. So I think we're pretty much done. But if you wanted to go into tone, you can use these rhythm lines to sort of locate the midtones. So like under the eye here, you can see that rhythm comes up. And you can kind of place those midtones in. Let's go ahead and put a highlight right above that pupil. put some tone in the eye. And let me give some more detail for the eyebrow. And then this side. Maybe put a little bit of tone in the upper lip. See how he looks older because of that line right there? So we can just take those out a little bit, knock them down. But I do want you to kind of think about those Riley rhythms because it really helps us to build that structure of the face. Put some occlusion shadows where light cannot get to, direct light or reflective light. And so the shadow will be really dark. And then as it goes away from the source of the thing causing the shadow, it kind of lightens up because all that reflective light can get in there. Kind of map in some of the shadow shapes for the hair. It's like a little bit beyond the mapping phase, or excuse me, the lay-in phase, but that's okay. I'm just having some fun. My highlight got a little dirty. Let's pull that out. Make it look like he's got a little bit of a split in the chin. Try to pull out a highlight in his bottom lip. And maybe a little bit of a shadow underneath the nose to show that plane change. Little form shadow. So we come right here, up and over, and then think about the peak of the nose, and he's got a little bit of a highlight right there. And then for the shirt, I don't know, should I play with the shapes? I think I'll just leave it. And then top of his hair. Again, you can just have so much fun with like designing the hair shapes and stuff. It's less rules, you know. That is a sweet mullet. All right. So I went quite a long time on this one. I was expecting it only to be like 20 to 30 minutes, but I was just having too much fun. I think it was going slow because I was getting a little distracted with the stories and stuff, but that's okay. All right, let's go on to the next one. And then let's see, let's try to get a different pose, different mullet. I'm just going to try to add a little bit more tone to this portion of the jaw to show that it's turning in. All right, let's call it. All right, let's go on to the next one, guys. All right, so let's start off on this really cool mullet. It's got bangs even, and little zigzags cut into the side. Pretty stylish. So I'm starting off with a little bit of a oval versus a circle because he is in profile, and the cranium is more of a oval shape than a perfect circle usually. And you can't see the top third of the face, or excuse me, you can't see the hairline, but it's probably somewhere right there. And the brow would be here, and bottom of his nose, I would say it's probably about right there. And of course his chin, the bottom third of his face looks a lot longer than the middle third. And I would place that about there. And if I took a measurement from the bottom of the chin to the bottom of the nose, it looks like it comes to this point above the brow. And with my pencil and thumb, I'm going to find the relationship between the bottom third and the middle third. So I'm going from the bottom of the chin to the bottom of the nose, and then checking that with the bottom of the nose to the brow, and it's right on the money. So I got pretty lucky there. Let's see, let me test that again. Yeah, so with that piece of information known, I'm going to go ahead and look at the angle of the nose, the bridge of the nose, and that's my guess. And I'm going to double check my guess by holding the pencil up to the image in front of me on the TV across the room. And then I'll find the bottom of the nose, or the underside of the nose. So I get a very simplistic blocky shape of his nose so far. And I'll just do the wing of the nostril. I can go ahead and take out that little line right there. And so I have the thirds of the face locked in. And now I need to find the width of his face in relationship to the length. So first I'm going to guess to where the ear will start and the jawline is. And then I'll check it with my pencil again. And he is in profile, so this will be pretty wide. I'm so used to like that 3/4 pose that I think I need to make it a little bit wider than I think it is. So I'm going to measure from the tip of his nose to where the jaw and the jawline and the ear is. So if the ear was here, let's say, it probably is off a little bit, but just so you can see that line right in front of the ear to the tip of the nose. With my pencil and thumb, finding that distance. Now I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to measure from bottom of the chin to somewhere up here, maybe a little bit further, maybe a little bit lower. And it hits, let me do that again, it's kind of shaky. And it hits right on the money, pretty much. So let's go from bottom of the chin to the brow, and then tip of the nose, and we're actually really far out. So I really overcompensated for thinking the head is wider. I'm going to double check that because I was kind of shaky. And then bottom of the chin. Actually, looks like it comes to about right there. Okay, so yeah, we were off quite a bit. So let's bring this line down and find the angle of his jawline. And I think if I just look at the image, right about where this notch is, right above the start of the nose, if I come straight down from that point, that's about where the philtrum is attached to the nose. The philtrum is that split right here between the like the upper lip, that little divot. That's the philtrum. And so I can use that and start drawing the lips and do a little rhythm for the cheek right here, the nasal labial fold. And that rhythm goes right into the corner of the mouth. And before I proceed to the chin and such, I'm going to take an angle basically from the tip of the nose to the chin. So I'm going to basically place the pencil up against the tip of his nose and to where it touches the chin, and I'll find that angle and make sure I got that correct. It's kind of hard to do when you drink too much coffee and you're shaking quite a bit. So it looks like I'm pretty close. And I can also use a vertical line, a plumb line, right at the edge of his chin, and it goes up through the eye. That's about right. So I'm just going to do a little rhythm for the chin. It's very round on him. And now let's go back to the upper lip. I can see that the upper lip is sitting over the bottom lip. So it's not, the tip of the upper lip is further out than his bottom lip. And his bottom lip is also much fuller, much thicker than the upper lip, but it sits underneath the tip here. So if we came like a vertical line, it won't touch the bottom lip. So looking for those straight up and down lines, those vertical lines, the plumb lines, really help. So like I'm looking at the image on the TV across the room, and I can do like these little vertical lines and see where different features line up with other features, so I can lock in and get things lined up correctly. Now I moved his chin down a bit, which means I have to re-measure the width of his face compared to the new length that I just created, if I want to keep things in the correct relationship to each other. And I might have to move the brow up a little bit too. I didn't move it very much, but for a portrait, a 1/4 of an inch is a mile. So it means a lot on a portrait. you really change somebody's, you can change somebody's likeness by a very, just the tiniest fraction of an inch difference. So let's see. Let's go ahead and measure again from where the ear starts to the tip of the nose and compare that to the length. And comes to about right here. So I'm still in the same spot pretty much. It's a little bit different, but not by much. Let's see. And to find the bottom of the ear in relationship to the nose, I'm going to use my pencil on a horizontal line, and it's just a touch higher than the bottom of the nostril here. So if I take a line straight across, his ear starts right here. And let's do the same for the top of the ear. And that hits that brow, right about the peak of the brow. So now we have basic block shape of the ear in place. And let's go ahead and work on some of the brow ridge structure. You have the brow ridge that comes over. And you can see that little split in the middle. And then he has a side plane of the head, which we often see in Loomis, where he cuts the side of the head off. That plane change of the skull. And I know he has hair on, but he has a lot of hair in the back of his head, but I'm just going to sketch in, ghost in really, what I think the skull would look like. And then we'll place hair on top of it. So in general terms, the peak of the skull will be about here, right above the ear. It'll, like, the highest point would be about right here, the apex, and then it'll slope down and then all the way down to the forehead. And let's go ahead and do the underside where the neck is. It's got the Adam's apple, and he's turning. Let's make this a little bit thicker on this side. So he's turning his head kind of like this, which I can't really do right now because I injured my neck today in class, in a jiu-jitsu class. I was trying to do a Instagram. I saw a move on Instagram, and I was trying to do it today, and of course I injured myself off of a stupid Instagram video. It worked. I finally got it to work, but the first 2 or 3 times I tried to make the move work, I was putting all my weight pretty much on my neck, holding myself up with my forehead on the mat. So, which didn't hurt at the time. It actually hurt a little bit later. So it was kind of funny in that way how that, it's like, man, why does my neck hurt? Oh yeah, 10 minutes ago I was doing that stupid move. But anyway, back to the drawing. I get a little distracted sometimes. Okay, so I went down into the neck here, just mapping in the Adam's apple and thinking about the form twisting, right? He's turning, his back is to us, but he's turning and facing us, trying to face us. He's in profile, but he's like looking at us, right? Or trying to look in our direction. So we have these overlapping forms, and that muscle group, the trapezius, which attaches to the neck, which don't really need to get into that. But I just want to get that basic structure down before I go into putting the hair on the back side. I just want to get the head construction pretty locked down. So we can also do the rhythm and the 𝙍𝙗𝙗, which you see me do all the time, is I really like this rhythm. It goes from the corner of the mouth up through the cheekbone, through the zygomatic arch of the skull, and then to the ear. Some people make it go through here where the zygomatic arch actually flows through. It's up to you. I like just go through the top of the ear. And let's get rid of these straight lines I drew across. So now I'm going to look into the whole eye socket deal. And so basically what we're doing is starting with the broad or general block shapes of things and then adding more detail. So we got the brow here, we got the side plane of the head, we have the cheek rhythm, which shows the side plane or the plane change over the cheekbone. And now we can come down, you see this line right here. It's almost like a sunglass shape of the eye socket. It'll start to look like he's wearing some funky looking sunglasses. So we just draw this overall shape, and this represents the eyeball itself, the sphere, the ball. So we're going to design the eye around the ball, almost like a sculpture. And at least it helps me to think of it that way. A lot of times when I'm drawing, it actually, I don't know, it just feels like I'm moving things around like it's clay or something. And I think that just helps identify what looks three-dimensional and what looks flat. So thinking about the plane changes of the head, like these rhythms here, and if you had another one here, you can see like if there's a straight line or a line over the form, it would hit this ridge, curve over, come down the eye, come down the eyeball, down the cheek, and maybe a little flat here, and then continue over the chin. So thinking about those plane changes really help build up a three-dimensional face. So again, we got our rhythms. So let's look for the inside corner of the eye, which is pretty tucked. It's tucked in behind the eyeball, but let's try to locate that in relationship to the outside of the nostril here. And I think it's not parallel with the bridge of the nose. Sometimes it is. In this case, I think it's more angled in. And let's take let's use our pencil to find that angle and then come down. So I think that's pretty close. And I'm also looking at the distance from the eyebrow to the top eyelid. And there's a good amount of space there, and I can pull that rhythm from the back side right here and just pull it all the way through. And you'll see the far side eyelash actually kind of follows on that rhythm. So we have that rhythm for the upper eyelid, and we know the corner of the eye is about right there. And then you can see the eyeball is at an angle. It's not actually like right here. We're not up here where it's straight up and down. It's at an angle. So it's more like this. And then the corner of his eye is pretty high up, and then it curves around that eyeball. And we'll draw the upper eyelid, which is really, really thin. It's kind of hard to see. So we have like his upper eyelid is actually kind of tucked in nicely underneath the brow. And now we can sketch in the iris. And I think I need to make that eye smaller by making that corner a little bit further in and at a sharper angle. Okay, that feels better. And we have the iris here, and he has a highlight in there. And I think the highlight is probably sitting right on top of the pupil. So that's going to make the highlight pop really good. Let's see, let's get that rhythm all the way through. And let's clean up some of these lines that I put in. And let's see, the brow starts right here. Comes over. It's pretty straight for the most part. I'm going to put a little bit more of an arch in it, just for aesthetics, personal preference. And this wraps around. And then let's do the bottom eyelid. So the corner is about right here. And then the bottom eyelid comes out from behind the eyeball. And then it creates this little step that comes down. And then we go into the tear groove. And then again with that nasal labial fold about right here. And he's a pretty young guy, so you're not going to see that mid-cheek furrow really. You see a little bit of a value change and color change related to it, but it's pretty much non-existent. And if I put it in really dark, it's going to age him, make him look older than he is. So let's pretty much just take that out completely. We'll just leave some indication of that eye socket though, right here. And let's ease up on some of those rhythm lines. And I'm going to do the underside plane of the nose. Okay. All right, so he's looking pretty good. So I think I'm ready to go ahead and put hair on him. Let's see. So I'm gonna measure. I'm gonna try to find the very top of his hair. If I had to guess, I think it's pretty puffy, right? It's like a mullet, but it's like puffy. So I'm gonna make my guess of where the top of the hair is. Definitely comes down at this really cool angle, and then down and around to the front. So I'm gonna measure from, let's say, where the top of the ear attaches to the side of the head, and I'm gonna take a measurement from here to the very top border of the hair, and see if I got that correct. So I'm going to take this measurement, and then I'm going to come down here and compare it to the face. So from this point on the ear where it attaches to the very top border of the hair at the top here, and it runs off. I know it runs off the reference image, but we can guess. It's really close. And then let's compare that to the length of the face. And it comes just a touch above the eyebrow. So that's really long. So it looks like we need to go a little bit higher, not by much. And his hair kind of curves here and then pops back out again, and then makes its big curve around the forehead. That looks really odd. I don't know why drawing it looks even more odd. And for this point right here, I'm going to measure from that part in the hair to that point in the ear that we did before. So same thing, I'm going to measure for that distance and make sure I got the hair shape down in the ballpark at least. And that comes to about right here. Pretty close. It just doesn't feel right. It's like his hair is so wild that it's hard for me to let go and draw it like that. Okay, now let's look at the bang structure, or the position of his bangs. And they come across to about right here. So let's do the side. So if his hair came across, if we could see the hairline, it'd be something like this. And then it would change planes. It would wrap around that side plane of the head. And then it would turn that corner. And I'm just following that basic shape of this hairstyle. It's pretty cool. And we'll get to that in a moment. And his bangs come across. It's pretty jagged. It's not like super straight. And then it gets really jagged and kind of flows into the long portion of the hair over here. So I'm going to erase all this information of the skull. And we get this really good sense of the overall head shape and the hair shape. Let's go ahead and finish the mullet itself. Let's see it come down. Something like that. He's got some wavy hair as it gets longer. And we can have a lot of fun with that, just designing his hair. So how does this go? And then it's got some strands over here. I've been looking at, on Instagram, I've been looking at hairstyles and hair salons, because some of them, they do really good portrait photography. I saw one today and I was just like, oh my God, this is like perfect. And I was just, for like, I swear to God, like for like almost an hour, I'm just looking at all the different photos they had. I mean, they're shooting for the hair, but they use like professional photography set up at their hair salon for it. And the pictures are just awesome. Really good reference for a head drawing. Let's see, this hair comes up, kind of wraps up in here. And you can have a lot of fun with the hairstyles. I don't know, I've been looking at so many portraits of people with mullets that I'm actually starting to think about it. I'm actually kind of, I don't know. I never had a mullet well, maybe I did. Maybe as a kid, it wasn't like a hardcore one like this, but I guess I had something that you can call a mullet nowadays. But yeah, I was like I can see how like influenced I am by what I see on a regular basis. It's kind of funny. Very impressionable. That's probably a part of being an artist. Let's see. Just looking at these how the hair is flowing, and I think I need to. Yeah, this comes. It's hard to see. I should have put it through Photoshop so I can see the the details a little bit better, but it looks like it's coming down from the top like that, and then it's tapered. So a lot of tapering going on. Yeah, that looks cool, man. I don't want to do all the spaces exactly even. I want some variation in it. At this point, let's go ahead and do the ear. I think the ear looks pretty good still. I think it's in a good spot. And nothing crazy about his ear. Looks pretty standard. Let me go down into the tragus, which is actually pretty flat on him, but I'm going to make it a little bit more pronounced. Okay. And his jawline creases right behind the ear. And creases right here. I think I underplayed his Adam's apple a little bit. Let's make that a little bit more prominent. Nice. And the back of his hair, I have these cuts into the, like these little buzz cuts shape. Make the edges a little bit jagged. And then his hair flows like a river, like a waterfall down. It cascades down his back of his neck. It's so funny. Let's see. I'm gonna have to get a mullet. I need a mullet in my life. That just looks cool. I'm starting to really like it. My girlfriend's not gonna have it though. She is not having a boyfriend with a mullet, I don't think. Let's see, so I'm gonna use some of this side of the pencil, get some little jagged texture in. And this comes down, almost touches the ear, and comes back up. Then there's some piece right here, then a space. It's kind of confusing. Okay. Nice. You can see some scalp. They're very white scalp, so that's going to be kind of cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to go into tone too much, probably not on this, just the lay-in, but I would hit these edges really dark, like right here. I'll just do a little bit, just to show what I'm thinking of. Like, just like pull that right at the edge. And then, having done that, can come in here and you can just leave that untouched space as the white of the scalp, like right here. I think that looks cool. And let's see. And he's got some more right here. And this is a little bit lighter in value. It's more delicate, fine hair, or it's been cut shorter. Okay, let's try hitting those edges a little bit darker. Okay, let's go back to the nose. Kind of really just hit some of those edges a little bit sharper. He has a very, very sharp nose. I'm not sure how much value I want to put into this drawing. Let's see. It's got a little bit of a twist over here. Put some value in the lips. Almost see like a little bit of a chin boss, like almost like a split in his chin. I feel like if I could see him from the front view, you would be able to see that. It's funny, there's really no cast shadow for the ear. The light is so like blown out. Excuse me. But let's make that hair that comes out right here really crisp on the edge. And then soften up down here. I'll put some tone just for fun. I'm not going to go super dark though. And let's just reiterate some of these lines. And there's some midtones. His nose has a lot of value on it too. That's going to help with that highlight on the side. If I use my Tombo eraser, the pen eraser, just come over here and try to pull that out. Again, I'm going to put some tone in that lower third of the face to kind of show how the light is as it goes down the structure. As it goes down the face, it loses some of its intensity. And I think he might have light eyes. I'm not really sure. I think I see some blue. But definitely let's make that pupil dark. And it's surrounding that highlight. Okay, so that mid-cheek furrow, I'm just going to put in some of that value that you can see, like that, it's like a ruddiness, a little bit of red in the cheeks, which translates to a value change. I really shouldn't go into too much value, too much shading on this one. It's a nice little rhythm right here. Super dark on that side plane rhythm. It's really subtle on him. And I don't like the hair that tall. I know I measured it, but I can pretty much tell it's a little bit shorter. Would be better. I'm gonna use my Tombo to really dig out that line I put in before as best I can. And let's take out some of these old marks. He doesn't have a highlight on his lip, on his lower lip, but man, I kind of want to put one. But I think I'll put one over here actually. on his upper lip, I see a little bit of a highlight, what they call the white roll. You see like on the upper lip on some people. It's like a little area of what do they call it? Like a fat pad or something like that that kind of borders the top lip, and it catches light a little bit, so it kind of looks like a white little outline. They call it a white roll. You can see that on, usually when people are a little bit younger. When you get older, that tends to fade away. I still need to make my video on how to draw lips, and that'll definitely be in there. Let's see, let's come over here. I'm going to do a little bit of some shadowing in the ear, not much. Just look for those, what they call occlusion shadows. Okay. Just gonna put a bunch of value in the hair, I suppose. I gotta catch it up to the value on the side. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just have some fun. I'm gonna change pencils. That one's got a little hard stone in it. I can hear it grinding into the paper. And if I keep doing that, it's just really going to tear into it. So I'll have to take a razor blade and just chip it out. I'll eventually change over completely to the Wolf's Carbon from the Conte 𝙃𝙚𝙖𝙙, but I still have, I think, probably a dozen pencils still, unsharpened ones, and probably another dozen that are sharpened and ready to go. So it'll be a while. Let's hit this pretty dark too. Right here. maybe do like a little bit of like indicate some of that layering that I see, where it's like really choppy. It's really cool looking. Just break that line a little bit. That looks cool. Nice. That is a mullet, man. That's a cool mullet. And now I'm just going to use my eraser to pick out some of that tone that I put down and do it in a way that kind of follows the form of the plane changes, basically. In a very basic way. I think that's it for him. Yeah, give this one a try. This was a really fun one. Putting value in the hair was a blast. It was basically just hitting using the side of the pencil to hit the tapering effect that he has in the haircut. Then once it comes down here, it's much longer and flowing. Lots of texture. Lots of texture. Very cool. Yeah, so I'm just following that rhythm right here. It's kind of the cheekbone from this side, but also comes down like that mid-cheek furrow rhythm. But it's only value really at this point. There's no groove. It's just like a little bit of a plane change. Let's break this line up. All right. All right, cool. Hit there, hit there. Last call, last call. All right, I'll call it done. That was a fun one. So thanks guys for watching, and if you can, join me on Patreon, check it out. And live streams on Thursdays, live streams on YouTube on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. And hopefully you can join that, and I can see you in the chat room. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you around. Bye.